Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us for pricing. Team Mosso at the1916company.com for pricing. Today we have a watch which can speak for itself, so let's hear it. From Breguet, this is the Classique Alarm, the Reveil Du Tsar, reference 5707BA, launched in 2003. It's a beautifully proportioned and handsomely dimensioned multifunction watch that can do just about everything. 39 millimeters in diameter in yellow gold. The watch is 11.6 millimeters thick and from lug tip to lug tip, 47.6 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. You can see it fits really nicely. It appears larger than it is due to the long straight lugs, but you can see in profile it's got a domed bezel. It's under 12 millimeters thick. It will easily slide under a dress cuff, particularly once the strap is broken in and more flexible. The watch will fit a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference, and again, mine is 16 for reference. The strap is substantial. We have large and medium rectangular scale alligator leather, and it is medium brown, a little bit of bolstering to add volume, that is stuffing. It has a semi-gloss finish, a monotone stitch, and then a sheer cut edge with lacquering to add refinement. On the bottom calf skin, you can see no crimping, no gouging. This is a brand new Breguet factory strap, a combination of bars, screws, and set screws used to fix the strap to the lugs, which is a wonderfully secure system that's far more reliable than spring bars. And though more expensive, a watch like this deserves it. We have a friction fit single fold deployant clasp with a combination of media blasting and polish. You can see how there's some knurling on the outside so you can grip it more easily. Friction fit, snap shut, and giving you an element of security when this watch is on the wrist. Snapping shut just like that. You can also see that the buckle is held to the strap using screws and bars, so everything here is very secure. Now, the lugs are welded to the case. This is old school case construction. Very manual, laborious, and slow, which means that the lugs in the case were made separately. The lugs were inserted into slots in the case. They were welded together and then filed to create this super sharp break between lug and case with no gathered material left from the weld. The case also cold rolled and then hand finished in a jig. A beautifully handmade case at every phase. You have your on-off trigger for the alarm where you can arm and disarm it. You can see that little musical note up at 12 o'clock lets you know if it is armed. We have two crowns, one of which primarily involved in winding and setting the alarm, the other primarily involved in setting the time. I'll demonstrate their use right here. You can see that this actually activates the ability to set the watch, and that's the primary setting mode. Note that the 24-hour secondary time zone is setting in sync right here. Now, what I do is I set my 24-hour zone first. That's my reference time, the time where I am not. And then you can see I set my local time independently, and that this can drive the date forward or backwards as I cross the international date line. Now, when I wind using this crown, take a look at the power reserve. I wind the power reserve, and that is an indicator for the power reserve for the alarm. If I wish to wind the watch, I can do that as well, but the watch is able to automatically wind both the time-telling barrel and the strike barrel. So the way this works is the watch and the manual winding act on both the alarm power reserve and the time-telling power reserve. Two different barrels. Very few alarm watches can wind both functions. Now down here you can see I have the ability to set the time displayed on the alarm subdial. And that's what I do with this little crown down at 4 o'clock. I set the time on the alarm subdial. Taking a quick look at the dial, it is made of solid gold. It is then cut on straight line machines and rose lathes to produce many different patterns across this dial. And then once the gold dial blank has been cut by the guillocheur, the artisan responsible for this particular craft, then it's silvered to create the look you see here. We have Breguet secret signatures here. These were actually done by hand and transferred to the dial in miniature by a pantograph, similar to what's used to make Audemars Piguet tapisserie dials. Hands are fired blue steel, and you can see Breguet style for the hours and minutes. Note that the cannon pinion at center, which mounts the minute hand, has been polished on its top. The attention to detail is exquisite. Turn it all over, and you can see that this movement's actually shared with Blancpain. We have a Breguet rotor, though, which features another lovely guilloche pattern on its face. And then the movement, which is known as the 519F. Automatic winding with a 45-hour power reserve and a 4 Hertz beat rate. It is an alarm with a dual time. It's free sprung for durability against shock, which also allows that precise 6-position adjustment, because all of the timing adjustments are done using variable inertia bolts on the balance rim. And as you can see, it is quite nicely decorated. Everything from the stripes to the engine turning on the base plate to the black polishing and snailing on the lobes of the striker. Anglage, as you can see from this angle, the mirrored bevels on the edge of every bridge, beautifully executed. And locating pegs that are used to locate bridges and springs on lower structures. You can see 2 here. Those are polished on their top. All screw heads are polished on their top. It is very, very accomplished. See right there, caliber 519F in Breguet speak. Again, there is a Blancpain equivalent. And a dual time capable watch with 38 joules. All of this 30 meters water resistant. An exemplary all-arounder, a timepiece that could very well be your travel companion and ideally suited to anything from catching your plane, keeping track of far-flung associates you may need to call at odd hours of the day, to waking you up for your flight or meeting. This is the all-arounder from Breguet. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.